For one moment, I would like for you to imagine a scenario. You're a parent. You come home from a nice day at work, only to discover that your beloved son, who you adore, he has taken his own life. Now, you would be distraught. You'd probably be broken, wouldn't you? Now, imagine finding out that the reason your son took his own life is because students, classmates of his that he thought were his friends, posted pictures of him, explicit pictures, on social media. Now, in this situation, would you blame the students or would you blame the social media platform? My guess is that you would blame the students because they held the actions that directly led to his death. Well, in the following several minutes, I would like to explain how social media is the ultimate enabler in many of these situations and in many deaths. If you can't believe just my words, I hope that you'll acknowledge the plethora of information that I'll present in the next few minutes. During the speech, I'll present information both empirical and anecdotal, and I want you to decide for yourself if this is an issue that should be dealt with immediately. Now, first, I'm going to talk about anxiety and depression and its correlation with social media. According to a 2017 study done by Sage Journals of more than 500,000 high school students, there was a 33% increase in depressive symptoms from 2010 to 2015. This is significant because of the correlation and the rise of smartphone use also. Over that same period of time, from 2010 to 2015, according to the same article, there was also a sharp spike of about 30% of reports of students seeking help at college and universities across the world, going to counseling centers, mostly for depression and anxiety. While these examples don't necessarily prove a causation, it's still a bit curious. In my next point, I want to explain a vicious cycle that happens with excessive social media. So, using knowledge that I found from helpguide.org's 2020 article regarding the subject, when you're feeling anxious, stressed, even lonely, where do you go? I'm sure that many of your answers are social media, and it doesn't seem like a bad habit, but what you're really doing is setting a precedent that enables an immensely damaging cycle. Part one of this cycle is just initially going to social media as a form of escapism. Doesn't seem harmful, but it leads to part two of this, which you increase your use of social media, and that'll lead to an increase of FOMO, or fear of missing out. Basically meaning that the more you're on social media, the more you feel engaged with the community of whatever you're looking at. Once you leave that, then you just feel like you're missing something, even though you're probably not. So as you start to feel the inadequacy of FOMO, you start to get anxious, stressed out, lonely, and sometimes even depressed. And as those stressors return, you'll probably return to social media for more escapism. And so it just creates a spiral that will never end. You'll always go to social media, then you'll always, once you go away from social media, you'll have FOMO, fear of missing out. And then because of that, you'll get stressed, lonely, depressed maybe, and then you'll go back to social media as your little security blanket. Thus begins a downward spiral of your confidence and mental health. My final point will be showing how social media, in several cases, has directly led to the death of innocent people. There's many examples of this. One example comes from an article posted by Metro.com in January of 2019. This article explains how a girl, her name was Molly Russell, she took her own life after being recommended pictures on Pinterest glorifying self-harm and suicide qualities. While these pictures didn't really mean anything, and they weren't going to push an innocent person that never thought about self-harm to somebody who was ultimately going to take their own life, it would definitely take Molly Russell's case, at least. She was already somebody that was upset and didn't have a lot to go to. And so Pinterest recommending these pictures to her just ultimately set her off the edge. She entered a dark rabbit hole, and sadly, she didn't make it out alive. Another example I found from Fast Company in 2019 was of a guy named Tom Ryobi. probably pronouncing that name wrong, but Tom Ryobi. This example doesn't deal with mental health, but just focuses on the fame and fortune that a lot of people strive to for social media. So in Tom's case, he was a climber. He liked climbing a bunch of things, and it was called rooftoping is what he started. Basically what rooftoping is you go to the top of a tall structure, skyscraper, construction buildings that are pretty tall, and you take a picture. You dangle yourself off the edge and take a picture, and it usually goes viral on social media. Well, in Tom Ryobi's case, he did this and he fell and he died. And many other cases have been documented of this, where people are they fall off and die in the name of seeking out fame through this outlet. And it makes you wonder, would that be the case without social media? So from the risk takers who gamble their own life in search of fame and glory, to the innocent teenagers who attempted from these social media platforms to take their own life, the common thread is the social media through which these events take place. We need to take a stand and denounce any and all of these actions, for if we don't, many innocent people will surely die in the future. I hope that through these points, I've thoroughly explained my reasoning for how social media enables these heinous events. Thank you.